Hello everyone, we're going to do something a little bit different today. I tried multiplayer Total War battles for the first time properly in, well, the history of my Total War career. This is something that I kind of just avoid, mostly because I don't like competitive play, right? Alongside that, I am a campaign player. That's what I'm interested. I don't even like multiplayer campaigns with friends. I just want to play my campaign and just have my fun. But the best way to understand Total War properly and its community would be to jump into at least some of every aspect. So during Tides of Torment, I set to do just that. And I want to show off my learnings, alongside the general talking points like, does MP hurt campaign? Does campaign hurt MP? Are they just cannibalizing each other? Let's find out, shall we? But before anything, just so you guys are aware, Instant Gaming's Black Friday deals have just started, with brand new deals coming out every single day until the end of the 1st of December. And they're pretty damn good. We've got 30% off Arc Raiders, which means that I'm finally going to jump into that. And it looks like there's going to be loads of titles given a special deal every single day. And they've got a cool system where if you make purchases during this period, every hour they're going to refund the cart. So there's a chance for you to get all your money back and keep the games. That's pretty damn cool. With the winners of those carts being announced on their special Discord, which can be found on the store page in the link in the description below. Okay, so let's put it out there. I don't like competitive play because it brings out a weird side in me. I play a lot of competitive tabletop, and that's pretty much as far as I like to go. Gone are the days since I used to try and succeed in high-ranking World of Warcraft arena matches. So instead, in my foray into multiplayer, I decided to play against a friend, the War Master of Moloch, and the idea there was we both know each other, it's not going to get too sweaty, and we're just going to have a little bit of fun. The niche for Total War multiplayer has always been a thing. It's never going to be as popular as campaign, but there's always been that drive to get those cool battles shown off. Whether it's people just doing some historical reenactments, or just doing some cool battles in Total War Warhammer just to get big monsters doing really cool stuff. Multiplayer has always been a weird thing when it comes to Total War though, because it's never really gotten the support it really deserves to push it forward, despite the fact that Creative Assembly tend to thrive, let's just say thrive, off community-based tournaments. They'll do their own, yes, but it's mostly just based on the community stuff. We've seen it with other content creators like Human Boy Yes Yes, Dav Plays, Turin, and among others. And as far as I'm aware, in Warhammer 3, Creative Assembly did try to give it a proper push, possibly at the expense of, well, other things. Well, in the game in general, I'd say. At the time of recording this video, there are three main forms of multiplayer play: land battle, conquest, and domination. There are other forms, like for example free-for-all battle, ambush battle, just the general stuff that you can see in your normal games, but generally tournaments will be run in land battle, conquest, or domination mode, as those are the ones that are actively balanced for. You can't really balance for a siege, or really a survival battle, or an ambush battle. That doesn't really have the 1v1 aspect. Land battles are the form that I played mostly, because it's the more traditional Total War, right? It's a Total War map, 1v1, 2v2 or whatever, and yeah, it's just army versus army without any other gimmicks. And that's what I decided to play because the other two systems weren't too interesting for me, where it just turned a bit more gamey. And that's perfectly fine. Creative Assembly were looking at other ways to explore the multiplayer play. Whereas Conquest and Domination mode are kind of like capture the flag situations. There's tickets to win as you're playing the game, and that's basically going to decide who is going to be winning. You can actually try out both systems without needing to play other players if you want to learn them, which is a more relatively new approach. You can play against the AI to practice, and that's a pretty cool system, but it's still not for me. I want battles, I don't want gimmicks, right? And I know some people do like them. I know content creators have kind of fragmented into each of the specific types, some of them covering all, while others covering their preferred niche. And that's perfectly fine. That's literally what all these systems are in place for. It's clear that some are more popular than others because Domination has received a lot more support than the others, at least as far as I see it, considering that a bunch of maps were turned from a tavern pack, that's a mod pack, but uploaded officially into the game. I can't imagine the arguments that must have been had there with Games Workshop, considering that this is their IP, and they wouldn't have as much control over the creation of these maps as expected. Sure, they could probably change some stuff around out of request. Well, not request, it would have to be a demand at that point. But yeah, Domination did end up with a few community-based maps. Alongside that, multiplayer normal land battles, which is what I preferred myself, basically got ignored for the Conquest mode, as I don't think any new maps were added in for Warhammer 3. There's a section there you can search, and you can search multiplayer specific. There's really very little maps. While maps don't make the game, it does add to a visual styling, and if you have the same thing over and over, it does become, well, a lot of fatigue. And I think this is where the problem starts kicking in, from my point of view. There's not enough being supported there, which is funny because there's clearly not enough campaign support in most cases. Yeah, the updates are looking pretty damn good, and I don't want to talk about the campaign too much right now, because 7.0 does look quite decent, and this is a video basically about the multiplayer stuff. I feel like a big problem that's coming to multiplayer is there might be too many ways to play. Hear me out, because I know that's a bit of a weird way of saying things. Then the question gets into effect: how does the gameplay get balanced? Creative Assembly's balancing has always been a full carpet. What happens there is you've got 3 different game systems for multiplayer, and then the campaign also gets affected too, which is why you might see creators from campaign exclusive stuff, like myself, getting kind of peeved that units were nerfed in respect of the multiplayer community. It's not the community's fault, naturally, but what happens here is, yeah, units are now getting weaker and weaker, or sometimes way too strong, but nobody really complains about that second part, obviously, because they had to be changed around for the multiplayer. And the thing is that the multiplayer balancing then had to take into account not only land battles, but conquest and domination too, as they are different styles of play. I do find it very strange that Creative Assembly had decided to do such a push for multiplayer, basically done nothing with it, in all honesty. They didn't really do that many of their own styled events. But then think about doing something that everyone has been asking for a while now. Actually doing a separation of balance. You know, where there's separate balancing for each of the different sections, which would have been very useful not only for campaign people, but for the multiplayer people too. Historical purists will say, well, that was only needed now, and only now because of Warhammer. And yes, Warhammer is going to be very gamey because you have to bring in magic, monsters, monstrous infantry, all that type of jazz into the equation. But I don't imagine that in future Total War games, even historicals, that they're going to stop doing stuff like conquest and domination because they know that it actually gets some sort of results, and the creator's already been incredibly fragmented. If you get rid of that, everyone's going to go back into land battles and people are going to be kind of jaded. So out of the 3, I did try out all 3 of them. The problem was I don't like very gamey arcade stuff when it comes to a battle. The land battle system I preferred 100 times over, I think. Mostly because it just reminded me like a tabletop battle. Obviously, it's a little bit more fast-paced because you can get a battle on Total War done in about 10-15 minutes, maybe even sooner, depending on the player. Whereas a tabletop battle can be 1 to 2 hours, depending on the system and obviously the rules being used. Land battles felt really, really fun, and it's something that I do intend to try out every now and then, post the launch of Tides of Torment, and possibly after my move, because that's finally coming up. I've actually got a date now. But Creative Assembly need to start adding more maps there, or else it just gets absolutely boring. It's the same visual effect. To be fair, there's been a lot of lack of maps when it comes to Total War Warhammer in general, and it's a shame. The big issue is obviously going to be balance, and that's always going to be a point of contention where people are going to be arguing non-stop about it. It's just never really going to change. The only thing that makes me think about this is hopefully in the future Creative Assembly have learned, and whatever gets announced on the 4th of December has got some separate sort of balancing for the benefit of the title. It won't be so much needed for historical, but we do know that they have plans for new fantasy titles, and the only way that they're going to be able to do that is if they seriously break down the balance and have it separated. But yeah, this was my experience with Total War Multiplayer. Something that I think a lot of people weren't really expecting, but I really wanted to jump right in and try something different. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with me? And yeah, I'll see you all again very, very soon, guys. Tomorrow is the break of the embargo for the campaigns for the DLC Lords, and the videos are up and running. I want to take a break, so there's no stream today, as I am trying to finish off the review, so you guys can have it there. It's a lot to talk about. Have a great one, guys. See ya.